Okay, well, in the world of zombie survival, there's plenty of examples out there. There's the parkoury Dying Light type games. There's the isometric Project Zomboid game, and there's plenty of fantastic ones. There's the multiplayer shit fuck fest, DayZ, and many, many different examples all along the gaming spectrum. But there's a wonderful little game I think stands out on its own merits very, very nicely, and that's the absolutely wonderful State of Decay 2. Now, there's all kinds of different things that you can do in this game. There's, of course, driving and skulking and stifling for resources, shooting, exploring, and having a team. But I think the core of it is just how you have like your bases and how you feel safe, and you have that feeling of safety because it is quite creepy at some time. Now, this is a mutagenic type zombie, so I mean, you're getting all kinds of explosive zombies and faster ones and juggernaut big type zombies, and there's a whole wide range of them which you can turn off. But I mean, the standard Z's are just wonderful. They clamber around and they look very, very creepy, and they make weird sounds, and it's a great fucking zombie survival. Now, expect to do quite a bit of looting and shooting in this, but there's like, I mean, it has a nice gameplay loop to it. I mean, you have a very select type of resources. You have to go for ammo, you have to go for medical, you have to go for food and all kinds of things. But I mean, it's just that core loop of going around and raiding kind of like a broken down house that makes this game truly special. And the creep factor is on full display here. The creepiness of the night, the skulking zombies all around you, it really makes you feel uncomfortable. And when you have a really set, nice base, it makes it feel truly amazing. Like fucking, you're just like, you feel safe. It's hard to explain. I love it when that feeling comes in games and it's just, you feel safe within your bounds of your little base or whatever. And it's like, and it has a really, really good feel to it in that aspect because the scariness of it hypes up the intensity factor a lot. But the combat here is stellar as well, as you take and use a whole array of melee weapons, explosives, fire-based weapons, and all manner of firearms that break and degrade and have various states and stats. It's all a very fantastic battle system too. You're knocking zombies over, you're breaking their heads in. It's really, really fucking satisfying to say the truth, say the least. But the core of all this certainly comes down to your survivors and your enclaves and the attachments that you share with your characters that made The Walking Dead such a successful series in its own. You really have interplay between some characters, and although it's not fully fleshed out as much as humanly possible as it could be, it certainly is something that you kind of have this interplay between your survivors and your little enclave and who's good and who gets exiled. And that sandbox mode that they have in this is pretty stellar to say the least. It's a game that I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with, and many people could probably say the same. And I think the thing is it's something that like there are so many zombie survival games, but and so much zombie stuff out there. I mean, 7 Days to Die I loved as well, but there's just so many to choose from. And really, you find a great one, it's good to just kind of pick it and go with it. And this is a stellar game for if you're ever just wanting a mindless zombie romp that has some very intense mechanics to it. This is the one to choose for sure. Now, as much praise as I've given the game, there is some critiques to have here along the way. One of the things that is about it is it does get very, very, very repetitive. You're doing the same things, you're looking out for your survival, and then sometimes just sometimes when things are quiet, that's when they're the best. And I found ramping up the difficulty just made it that much harder that it made it more of a hassle. But I mean, certainly playing on the harder difficulties, you're gonna get a lot more thrill and challenge. So I've noticed. But I started my play on a fairly easy mode, and I worked my way up to a harder mode, and I think that's a perfect way to do it. You just simply surviving in the world is enough of an interesting challenge to get you going. So whether you've never heard of this before or you're looking for something interesting as zombie survival, I would highly recommend State of Decay 2. It doesn't have an incredible amount of staying power, but what's here is very, very good and is sure to give you a little bit of creeps along the way because there's certainly some creep factor involved in this. And there's certainly a lot of jump scares to be had. And when you're skulking through a dilapidated building with zombies sounding around you, it really gets your jimmies going, let's say that. And hey, until they build the ultimate Walking Dead game, this is something along the lines of some of the best that we're gonna get of this genre. I mean, they could literally make like the best zombie survival ever and have it just like Walking Dead and have every part of America explorable and shit like that. But till then, we're gonna have to settle for what we got, and this is high up there on the echelons of zombie survival, let me tell you, friends. With zombie survivals a dime a dozen, sometimes you really gotta sort through the bullshit to come out at the other end. And sometimes you come across hidden gems like this that are surely to give you a little bit of kick that you wanted if you ever wanted a little zombie survival fun. So unless we ever get a State of Decay 3, this is possibly one of the great ones on the zombie spectrum. And there's certainly worse examples out there that you can have with so many fucking zombie games. Sometimes it's a little bit refreshing to get something that's just a zombie game, just a standard issue zombie game, and there's lots of fun to be had here for many, 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 many times. And if not just for the experience of going out in the darkness alone, just to give yourself a little bit extra creep factor.